Hi, Rotary. Today we're going to remove engine from Mazda RX-8. Unfortunately, there was a little accident with an engine. I'm going to talk about this when we are going to disassemble the engine. As we see, we removed filter box, some top of plastics, and disconnected air pump. First thing we're going to do is remove hood, and then I'm going to disassemble all side of the engine, disconnect our engine harness, and then I think in hour or two we're going to get out of this engine. Hood in this car is real lightweight because it's aluminum, but be careful not to hit your bumpers, fenders, and just don't drop this on other things. Better have other person, but I like to work alone. And now, put this in safe place. In my case, it is here, as nobody will be touching this. Next thing is disconnect battery. It will be best to remove all necessary things. Always when removing engine, remove the more, the better. yeah, on front we have also some wires. As we need to disconnect this cable, and in the near future all this harness that goes up front, it is starter and some grounds, and I think there is one connector also in the way. We must disconnect this, but first thing is it will be removing this cover. Here we have ECU and disconnect this. Usually this cover is fastened by these 3 screws, and sometimes here is some covering connections, as we see, but here there is none. Best way to remove this is it would be a flathead screwdriver, but I forgot to take one. We just pushing this clip and pulling connector out. We need to remove harness from here, these 3 connectors, and also here, could you please, here we have 4th connector that we need to take this inside and pull connector out. Now we have our harness out. It will be a good thing to remove air pump because it takes a lot of place. So yeah. Two bolt, 1 screw, just to take out only air pump, not whole assembly with sensors and stuff. As we saw, I just get that ring off, and by twisting and pulling we got whole thing off. On the top of the engine we need to remove all these pipes that goes to cooling. I will be removing the alternator and upper intake manifold with that pipe, because the less is better, and I think I will not need this, as this is all things we need to remove actually from up. That is our pipes, top of the engine, and I think it is all of it. And just to remember, we have here we have our harness that is a little loose. We need to disconnect our oil piping, but not now, in near future. To remove upper intake manifold, we must take our servo wire, servo pipe. Just put this aside. Now this is one of the most difficult thing in removing it. It is not we have 5 bolts, 2 nuts, and 2 bolts that is near firewall are real hard to get, so we're starting from easy one, but I don't think we should. Just loosen it. We don't need to unscrew it all the way for now. And now we need to get some crossing in our wrench. Something like this. Could you please get in front? Because getting to these bolts it's real tricky. and I don't want to just lose them in engine bay. So here's one. I loosen this also, so unscrewing it won't be much difficult, but we see. Now 3 of front ones, that is easy. Just unscrewing and pulling it out. Also, just to recover, I see that I need to remove this ground cable and all things connected to our throttle body, that is our cooling pipes and this connector. So now I will take place on the other side of the engine. Take another extension, because these nuts are kind of tricky, because you can do this on straight extension, but this one has a little wiggle on it and it really helps in actually these two spots. Working on high power 6-port engines is really tricky, because only this pipe it gives a lot of much more work just to pull upper intake manifold off, but rest of it is not so difficult. As I'm planning to pull out this engine in an hour or so. This is starting to go real smooth after that. Now, just to make some room, I will take 12mm socket and remove this cable from our alternator. Oh, it's not a 12mm, maybe it's 14. I keep forgetting. No. So what it is? 13 or 12. I'm considered that it should be 12. Oh. But I think I might switch that. I think I switched that because there isn't much 13mm in Mazdas, especially 8s. Yeah, so we remove a nut, and now by little twisting we getting our cable off. It is from main harness. We don't need that, so just pull it aside. Don't lose this nut, just pull it on here. Next thing to do is to remove this screw, and to loosen this screw, actually remove, because we're removing alternator, and it will be faster way to get off this upper intake manifold. Also, when we're removing this in this way, 14, no, whoa, I'm starting to get confused. For now, loosen. 13. Oh, it's 13. Little loosen, and we can unscrew it as this screw is tightened. As we see, it all goes by hand because engine was disassembled a week or so ago. Just keep assemblies like this together, screw, nut and bolt together and pull it in safe place. In best way is to keep track of bolts and screws that goes into the engine. To remove this, the best way it would be get bigger socket and bigger ratchet and wrench. Crank. As we see, we just little loosen it. The belt actually we can take off, so we do, putting it aside. Now removing this screw, we could remove the alternator, but there is actually we need to somehow, and now there is little tightened space. This is cooling cable. This vehicle don't have coolant, so this won't get in our way. Also, not so long time ago disassembled. Oh, I think that I need to remove upper intake manifold first, so take off all things from it. We need to remove this fuel cable that we need to just twist that clip and pull it up. Some fuel might pull out. Next thing is to remove all connectors. We have one connector here. This is engine harness. We don't need to mess with that. Also, we have in back we have 3 connectors. I will be showing it as I remove it, because just taking it off and plugging it on again is really difficult, especially on high power engines. 6 ports are hell with this. What I forgot beside that one connector? There's always thing that you forgot. Always some things. Like this little cables, sub pressure cables. Oh, yeah. Here are second cable that we need pliers to remove. Oh, it might be a little easier for me taking 10mm socket. 10mm socket. Little extension and just removing throttle body, as we don't really need this. We can just unscrew it, loosen 4 screws that are outside. Just remember, if you manage to do all things, not removing all things that I remove, that's great. If you don't need to, don't remove. If you need to, remove more. I'm just showing here how it is for me to remove it. These are very long screws, considering outside of the engine, so keep them close at first. Just unscrewing it. The last one. Yeah, I just put this clip this way. It was impossible to get outside. But yeah, now with little twisting and pulling, this comes off, throw the body out. So now, oh yeah, we can pull this lower upper intake manifold little out, pulling out the last connector. Yeah, and something else is pulling me. Oh yeah, I was disconnecting fuel cable. That was to fuel system, not what goes to intake and manifold. Putting manifold aside, we need to plug these holes, as we don't know why we need to remove engine. We might as well just plug it with some paper towel, just not for any screw to fall down into it, crashing something, and you have to disassemble it all, and on and on and on. Yeah, so yeah, I forgot about this. I seen it while disassembling. Why this won't come off? As always, connector, just push and pull, but this won't come off because of something. I don't really know why. Maybe because previous mechanics of this car wasn't very smart people, and things on this car are burnt, melted, connectors are melted like here. Yeah. Next thing, take it off. Well, you need to remove this screw from lower intake manifold. Yeah, that's because we left with all hoses, water hoses and oil hoses. We're going to go under the car, remove all bolts and nuts that are here, because they might get lost. Oh, I forgot. I was just putting these screws in special place because I wanted to screw it in upper intake manifold, but there won't be as much screws as I disassembled whole front of the car, so I just won't do that because I will remember where things goes. But there is thing that here in the alternator we have a nut, so we're putting screw and just twisting it that it won't be lost. Yeah, so cooling system, oil system, and all things that are under the car. So we're pulling car up. Just remove every tool and every screw that is on top. Okay, under the car here we have to remove some plugs of engine harness that are here, like this from second auto sensor. This is zip tied to gearbox, but I won't be this. Oh, actually I need to disconnect it because our catalytic converter and main resonator must to go down, or at least I must to unscrew it from header. I need just, if you could go outside, here we have some cooling here, yeah, that will be under the gearbox, and we need to unscrew all bolts. We don't have a bolt here because it was broken during assembling, and I knew that I will need to disassemble the engine, but not as fast as it happened. Disconnect this main harness, that will be some kind of trouble for us. Remove a starter, unscrew all bolts, disconnect this wire. Also we have here we have starting of cooling system. Here is a screw that we need to disassemble, and yeah, we need to put something here under gearbox, so we're not putting in harder than we will pull it out, like some wood thing, some wood block. This is not perfect, I will be changing that, but it may be thing that will come there. To remove this, we need to, of course, if you ever going to remove starter, disconnect the battery, because this is 12 volts, and if you're going to connect 12 volt with your ratchet to anything metal on here, it is ground, and it will be sparking. It can melt metal to metal. It can potentially damage battery, some electrical current, something. I'm not sure right now. Yeah, pulling it out. As previous with alternator, put nut on starter. Now we need just to remove these wires. We need to unscrew this bolt. Oh, this 12 millimeters as well. Oh, nice. Yeah, so we are free. Our engine is free from main harness. When we are going to on the engine, we are going to pull it out, but now we don't need to put the screw back in, because why not? Now 19 millimeter and removing this screw. It can be tricky, but with little force it can be done. There is oil in this pipe, so getting something that could possibly take the oil is not bad thing. Yeah, as we see, there is a lot of oil that is coming out here. Don't lose this bolt, because it is hold. Now we're going to disconnect only our catalytic converter from headers. We don't need to do anything else. I know that there is few bolts of different sizes because I couldn't find any that will fit here and are similar, and I was in hurry and I knew that I won't be keeping it for a long time. Yeah, these magnetic pads are awesome. Always when working on cars, I love to use them. Oh, it's 14. Here is 13. No. "13, 14 and 12. As always, combining three of those. And it gets me mad when I need to do something like this. How much time does it take? Does it took? To nie jest fajny czas. Boom, boom, boom. So now we can just pull it out just a little. We don't need to move this much. Ratcheting wrenches in pocket, and now we have some connectors, two connectors on gearbox. When it's manual, I don't know what it is in automatics. I didn't own any. One here, and now we having our harness here and two up here, and our reverse, neutral and O2 sensors are disconnected. Now we can just move it upwards. We don't need that. Oh, cooling things. Now to remove starter, we have 14mm here, bigger wrench, loosen. And I need some extension. Soon I will be needing more of them. Here is nut, from other side is screw. I just put it this wrench here. This little loosen, putting our ratchet aside. We can potentially unscrew it by hand, but our starter is moving towards us, so yeah. Long bolt out. I will just stick this to our magnet, and now just unscrewing it. This is our little screw. Now our starter is out. Shit. I have some weird nut here. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Please say it's 15. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There shouldn't be a nut that is held with the screw, but some previous owner did it like this, so yeah. It is good thing that is unscrewing together, because it would be a real pain in the ass just to pull this out. Now we need to take few long extensions with crossing, just to capture. There is one screw here, two on the top of here, and one is here. So we must unscrew all of it. No. No. Maybe with these two top ones I will have a better luck. Do I just took 13 mil? No, 10. And the last bolt. That can be a little tricky. Yeah, so there is everything down here. I hope this wooden block will be keeping our gearbox in place. And I need to lower this car back to the ground. So so first thing up here is to remove our harness. Removing coolant pipes, but I think I need to pull this clip and just put our engine harness here. Pull gearbox and O2 sensor harness just to keep it in place. Yeah, so first thing, remove this. We are going from easiest to hardest. Oh, I thought there is no of coolant, but here it is. And we need to just let it drain. I put something underneath this just to keep it there. Cooling pipes, always like rat's nest. This will be empty because engine drained all coolant. This will be empty because it's up here. Twisting doesn't apply here, so just pulling. some aftermarket parts, hardware or something, we need to have flathead screwdriver. So I needed to go for this. Pulling all aside, just not to interfere with our plans to removing the engine, putting it somewhere. We have one pipe here last, so we need to pull this up and change glove. Shit! That wasn't supposed to happen. And as we had leaked up here, we just taking off pipe from the engine that is up here. This is in right hand drive, I believe. In UK, Japan and Australia version, here is one pipe, heating pipe. In Euro, as I remember, it is going to this cable here. So now we have one clip up here. I will need myself some light. Here we have clip that we need to take off and pull this cable out. Then we need to hang engine and we'll be getting it out of engine bay. Just by looking at it, I put it right as it is. I should point light at here, but I need to. Oh yeah, it took off. Here it is, oil pipe, and some oil will drain from our pipe. This clip was positioned like here. I will be putting it back because I don't wanna to lose this one, and also just to show you how it was, just going underneath with our flathead screwdriver, pulling a little out and taking off. Just this easy. So now we need to remove bolts from our fasteners to the engine, but first we need to have our little ears and hang our engine on it. Only thing I have right now for this engine is this. It is little big, little messy, and it don't like to be pulled by one of two ears that are here. I think it was this one. Yeah. We will be pulling the chain here just as I can. Hopefully it will be long enough just to hang the chain outside down, because there is little access to the back one. And I need to put this chain real low on the engine, because if we would put it real high, it can hit our firewall, bend it. Been there, done this. as you see, I pulled almost all of this, so I will be pulling just some here, just little, not need to pull it whole in here, just to make a small loop, and take bolt with 2 washers and bolt it here like this. It doesn't need to be real fastened, because one coil rotary engines are not as heavy as some other types of engines. Hand tighten. Yeah, as we left with just a little of our chain, we are going to put second screw as previous, make a little loop, might be a little bigger, pull that screw with washer, put our washer in our nut, just hand tight, taking off of our hardware. We will be pulling by this, but not on this loop, but here. Our electrical engine puller. Just little up. It must be tight, but not much tight. As previous, I will be doing on 14 mil with long extension. But it might as well be wrong. One bolt out. On the second side of the engine there is second bolt. Here it is loosened, but because our engine was a little sideways, I just wanted to tighten it, but I never did. Now our engine should be loosened. Just take it a little up, wiggle it from gearbox, Also we need to take out, as I see, our side mount of the engine. This is 17 mil.